हरिः ओम् शन्नो मित्रस्यं वरुणः शं नो भवत्वर्यमा शं न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शं नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So now I am going to explain you the fourth lesson in the second level. Once again I am reminding you that when you are listening to these lectures, sometimes you feel like you are listening about the spirituality or Madame Blavatsky's books or some other stuff, not astrology. Because in many lectures, you will not find any astrological terms like Sun, Moon, Jupiter, or the names of the signs, nothing like that. So you may develop a doubt that whether you are following the astrological lectures or some other spiritual stuff. Spiritual astrology is like that. I told you many times. Now in this lesson, Master explained about the law of pulsation and the awakenings. This lesson is related to the evolution, right? If any one of you read the books of the Master, E.K., or followed his lectures, many times he explains about the theory of evolution, right? Not only that, he explains about so many laws, law of pulsation, law of awakenings, and law of periodicity, law of karma, and law of correspondences, law of change. Like that, he will explain many laws. We are trying to collect the information about these all the laws explained by Master K, and on someday you will find a wonderful book on the different laws. Okay. Now, from consciousness there is the descent of power, and from the power there is the descent of matter. So in the plane of matter, we see all the planets. Again, on each planet, the atoms begin to keep the existence of themselves. As the light of the sun falls upon the atoms of each planet, every atom illumines and it begins to feel its own ayam in it. That is, it gets its own awakening. This is one of the most advanced explanations given by the Master about the awakenings and about the evolution. I will try to explain to you in a simple way. From consciousness there is the descent of power, and from the power there is the descent of matter. Here he explained three words: matter, power and consciousness. When you look at the creation from above to below, there was first consciousness. From the consciousness the power descends, and from the power then comes the matter. So in the plane of matter, if you see from down towards upper side, matter, force or power, both are same, and the consciousness. Now the scientist has come to a stage, he is able to understand about the matter and the power. Now he is knocking the door to understand about the consciousness. So about the consciousness, Master E.K. explained very beautifully in many places. I asked one of my friends who is a PhD in quantum physics, how far the scientist so far understood about the consciousness. He said, now many of the scientists who are spiritual oriented, who have a lot of sincere faith on Indian scriptures. Faith means not the blind faith, and the who believed that there is a lot of science is there in the Indian scriptures, in the Vedas or in the scriptures. Now they are trying to understand the consciousness from the higher side of things. There are a lot of books are coming now from the West now explaining about the spiritual science or science in the spiritual subjects. Right? If we find in the Master E.K.'s books, you find a lot of scientific explanations. Once when I was giving a lecture in the university to the university professors in the America, I asked one of the professors in physics, is there any possibility to explain the teachings of the Master in the modern physical terminology? The lady said, it is not so easy to explain all this stuff, all the teachings explained by the Master in a scientific way. Still scientists need some time to understand from the Vedic point of view, from the Indian scriptures point of view. Okay. So in the plane of matter, we see all the planets. So whatever if you take the telescope or whatever it may be, and sometimes we can also see with the naked eye, the planets what we are seeing in the space, they are the physical planets. So in the plane of matter, we see all the planets. That's why Master E.K. used to say all the time, the sun what we see with our naked eye is the sun globe, not sun. Sun is the central point of the sun globe. And next he will explain about the Gayatri also, then I will explain to you very clearly. We see all the planets. Again, on each planet, the atoms begin to keep the existence of themselves. This is very important. All these planets, what we are seeing in the space, they are the physical planets, the plane of matter, they are in the plane of matter. Again, on each planet, the atoms begin to keep the existence of themselves. This is a special point. They keep the existence of themselves. This is the quality we also get as humans. Everybody wanted to keep his own existence. From where this quality has come? This quality has come from the planets. To the planets, from where this quality has come? To all the planets, this quality has come from the sun, which we call I am. Right? From where this quality has come to the sun? By itself. That's it. So that's why the I am is there in the sun. Through the sunlight, all the planets has come into existence as physical beings, the physical matter. That's why they borrowed the quality of the special existence of their own, they borrowed from the sun. So our earth is also the part of the solar system. We are the earthy beings. We are also having the same atoms. That's why we also try to keep our own existence all the time. This is the problem. This is the problem when it comes to a limited scale, the human scale. But the phenomenon is there in the universe itself. This is what we have to understand. Why everybody wanted to keep their own existence and keep their own point of view, their individuality, their personality, their own logic, their own philosophy, because everybody is having the same phenomenon. We borrowed from the sun, planets borrowed from the sun, sun borrowed by itself. That is the first awakening, you see. This is what Master is explaining in a very beautiful way. Again, on each planet, the atoms begin to keep the existence of themselves. As the light of the sun falls upon the atoms of each planet, while the light of the sun falls upon the atoms of each planet, every atom illumines and begins to feel own I am in it. Because all the planets are getting the light from the sun, that's why they used to feel, every atom of each planet used to feel the I am in it, that it gets its own awakening. That's why it gets its own awakening. So that's why the masters call our I am in ourselves is the localized I am. It is not I am like the sun I am, right? Why this local I am means it is also born out of it. That's why it created its own I am here in this body. This is what we call the localized I am or false I am. On this earth, it gets its first awakening, which is called nuclear awakening. When it comes to the existence of the awakenings, what happened? The first awakening is the nuclear awakening. The second awakening is called the biological awakening. First is the nuclear awakening, means all the minerals, what we call the mineral kingdom. This is the first awakening. It is called the nuclear awakening. The second awakening is called the biological awakening. The first subdivision of the biological awakening is the plant awakening. First is the nuclear awakening and second is the biological awakening. In the biological awakening, the first awakening in the biological awakening is the plant awakening, and the second in the biological awakening is the animal awakening. That is the awakening of the atom into the animal kingdom. That's how atom is awakened in the animal kingdom at the third stage. Nuclear awakening, that is the mineral kingdom, and then the plant kingdom. In the biological awakening, plant kingdom is there and the animal kingdom is there. Then that is the awakening of the atom into the animal kingdom. The third awakening is the human kingdom. Why Master told as the third awakening, actually it is the fourth awakening. Why? Because the first awakening he labeled as a nuclear awakening. The second awakening consists of two awakenings, the plant kingdom and the plant awakening and the animal awakening. That is two, the total three. And then the next is the human kingdom. So, from the stage of the mineral kingdom, the evolution takes place via the plant kingdom and animal kingdom into the human kingdom. We are in the human kingdom, that is the fourth awakening. So, this is what he explained in the second level, fourth lesson. Okay, I think it is clear to all of you. Master explained a lot of things in his lectures so many times. Okay, I am going to the fifth lecture. The theory of evolution. This is continuation of the previous lecture. But all the evolution takes place simultaneously. It does not take one after another, just as Darwin and his followers have explained. From the lower forms and gradually the dummy and natural philosophers believe that the higher forms evolve from the lower forms and gradually the lower forms will disappear. Then what happens? Man has to eat another man because the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom will disappear. It is foolish to think that evolution takes place from one step to another step. All these stages of evolution always exist. This is a very important explanation given by the Master. In the evolution theory, what generally we follow or scientists follow, what they are telling, the higher forms evolve from the lower forms and gradually the lower forms will disappear. From the evolution takes from the lower forms to the higher forms, automatically the lower forms will disappear. Master is telling here, this is not the right theory. What happens when the plant kingdom, if the atom has to awaken into the animal kingdom, what should happen according to this theory? The plant kingdom has to disappear. Only animals should be there. And then evolution takes place into the human kingdom. What has to be happened? All the animals should be disappeared from this globe and only human beings should be there. Only human beings are there. What happens? There is nothing to eat. Man has to eat the man. So this is not a scientific evolutionary theory. This is what Master is telling. It is not like one lower kingdom is disappearing into the higher, disappearing, and when it takes the next evolution, it is not correct. That's why what he is telling, all this evolution takes place simultaneously. It does not take one after another, just as Darwin and his followers explained. The evolution takes place simultaneously. That means all the time mineral kingdom will be there, plant kingdom will be there, animal kingdom will be there, and human kingdom will be there. The next kingdom is the Deva kingdom. It will be also there simultaneously. Master in one of his lectures, he explained, look at the tree. If you look at the tree, there are some buds not blossomed fully. and look at the another branch of the same tree at the same time. Some buds are slowly blossoming. If you look further, the same tree at the same time, you can see the fully blossomed flowers. So simultaneously buds are existing there, half blossomed flowers are existing there, fully blossomed flowers are existing there. This is the thing you will find in the humanity also. Matured people, not totally matured people, at the same time very great people, the sages, the masters, ascended masters, the rishis, all these people exist simultaneously at the same time. Like the birds and flowers exist at the same time on the tree. This is the beautiful explanation given by the master. That's why you cannot find the equality. Why, though we teach in the schools or in the lectures, try to practice equality, why it is not happening? Why? Because in the evolution, some people are in the lower kingdom, some people are in the higher kingdom, some people are the ascended masters, totally realized people, some people are already on the top of the human life, human nature. Some people are they remember their life for thousands of years, and even then they live on this earth to guide their fellow beings. So you find all the categories of the people, how can you bring the equality? That is the problem with the human mind. That is the phenomenon in the universe. That's why the elderly people, the matured people, the people with the wisdom, they will find the equality on the mental level. But when it comes to the physical level, you find all these different levels. You cannot bring them on the equal level. This is the problem we have to understand. That's why we have to keep this equality, the state of equality in our mind. This is what we have to remember. All the people who are totally matured spiritually. Right? The living beings travel from one state to another, just as we get into aeroplane in the airport to go to the other place. Master has given a beautiful example here. Suppose if you go to the airport today, you can see lot of people who are ready to take their flights. So when the flight comes, they will just go into the flight, and other people come to the airport. They leave the station. They travel in the flight. Like that, every day you see the passengers. Every day the passengers coming in, going out, arrivals and departures. People they will not stay there for long. They come into the airport. They arrive in the airport, and from the departure gate, they take their flight and they will go. Like that, in the evolution also, some beings they evolve into the higher kingdoms. Again, from the lower kingdoms, some beings they come to the next level, and from this level they come to the next level. From this level, some people go to the next level. Still, some people are there waiting for their turn to take the awakening. This is what Master explained. That's why this is a very beautiful teaching. That's why you have to understand. That's why Master Jalkul, in his teachings, he says, he is the perfect disciple who can put his hand on the shoulders of a fellow who is lower than him. If you try to lift one person to your stage, then the person who is the master who is above you, he will give his helping hand to you. He will lift you up. This is the evolution. This is so simple. This is the teaching of the Master Jalkul. If you lift somebody who is under us, then somebody who is in the higher planes, they will give their helping hand to us to take next journey. This is what Master Jalkul said. So, then Master explaining, now astrology gives you a key for understanding such things, how the various atoms of the planets are illumining, and how on each planet the beings are evolved into a biological kingdom, and the matter is stilled by the power of power, and again intelligence evolves from the second stage. You will find intelligence in power, and in the power in the physical body. That is power in matter. Matter forms the physical body, power forms the life, and the consciousness remains as the I am in you. So here Master has given another beautiful example. Astrology gives you a key for understanding such things. Here I have to explain so many things here, but we are still in the beginning classes. I don't want to strain your mind, but this paragraph is very wonderfully explained by Master Joel Cole in his esoteric astrology and Master E.K. in his spiritual astrology. What they are telling, the Master is telling about the evolution of the planets, not on the human beings. He is speaking about evolution of the planets. What he is telling, astrology gives you a key for understanding such things. How the various atoms of the planets are illumining, and how on each planet the beings are evolved into a biological kingdom. So there are beings also on each planet. That is what you have to understand. What is it, a physical body on each planet? Can you find the physical beings on the planets? No. You cannot find any physical being on any other planet except on the earth. Why? Because the five elements, our body is formed with the help of the five elements, five bhutas, we call it in Sanskrit. It is a combination of the five elements. If you go to the other planet, there the weather, the atmosphere, the gases, all those things are different. They are not like the five elements of our earth. If any beings are there, their physical bodies, they will not be like our physical bodies on the earth, because the atmosphere and the gases and everything is change, everything is different in those planets. Suppose if you go to the sun, there is no matter at all, there is only flames. How can you expect a physical being there? And on some planets you cannot find any oxygen. How can you expect a human being there, living without any oxygen? That's why on every planet, beings will be there, not like our physical beings on this earth. They will be also evolving. That's why what they explain in esoteric astrology and all other spiritual astrology books, especially Master E.K. and Master D.K., sun, earth, then the mind is the moon, the power is the Mars. If you go like that, if you go to the Venus, for example, if you go to the Mercury planet, the intelligence, a finer awakening. Then if you go further, you go to Jupiter, it is a wisdom. And if you go further, if you go to the Venus, it is total love, the highest point in the evolution, highest stage in the evolution. And then the sun, it is a consciousness. I am consciousness. So in the evolution of the planets also, you find the planets which are near to the earth, they are very less in the evolution. The planets which are near to the sun, they are in the higher evolution, because they are near to the consciousness. You understand? That's why the spiritual astrology, if you take spiritual astrology as your sadhana in the spiritual life, in the practice in the spiritual life, we have to cultivate the natures, the qualities of the planets, like Venus, the love, universal love, the quality of the Jupiter, discrimination and wisdom, the quality of the Mercury, the pure intelligence. Then come down, you have to use the quality of the Mars, the power, not for destruction, to save somebody who is weaker than us. And then if you come a little bit down, and then you find the moon, the mind. You have to surrender our mind to the higher mind. That's how, and come to the earth, it is a material matter. So you have to find out a program, you have to chalk out a program, how to use the qualities of the planets of their higher side. So it is a clue here. Why we call Venus and Mercury and Jupiter are the benefic planets? Why we call Mars, Saturn and all the planets are the malefic planets? Because here malefic and benefic is not concerned about good and bad about the planets. It is the quality of the planets in the higher evolution. That is a harmony, love, peace, a good judgment and divine qualities. All these planets related with Jupiter, Mercury and Venus. This is the clue here. The evolution in the human evolution, plant kingdom and animal kingdom and human kingdom, like that evolution is also there in the planets. They are working with us, they are working in us. We are living with the qualities of those planets. You understand? That's why you have to cultivate the habits of the higher planets, which we call the benefic planets, right? The whole creation is a descent and an ascent. Descent means coming from up to down, ascent means coming from below to upwards. A descent from the subtle to the gross and the ascent from the gross to the subtle happen through the same steps and vice versa. If you take a straight line, if you come from up to down, it is a descent. If you go from down to up, it is the ascent. This is our journey, what Master explained. So with this, the second recording is over. The lessons 4th and 5th. Let us meet in the next lesson. Swasya prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahi mahishaha gobrahmanebhya somastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.